I'm Dr. Bart
Okay.
Rademaker, and this is the Doctor's Guide podcast, Raw and Unfiltered. And one of the main reasons for this show and why we call it Raw and Unfiltered is getting to know the authentic voices, the integrity of my guests, sharing with you how they've navigated their challenges in their own life. Because wouldn't you really want to know that unless you're just one of those people who wants the quick fix that actually never works, by the way? You spend tons of money and you don't get anywhere with it. The reality is, for change to ever happen, your identity also needs to change. And that only can happen through the kinds of insights that you get listening to the people that are on this podcast, because they're revealing their inner voices to you, sharing their own very personal experiences, and so that you can actually see yourself in those experiences as well, or perhaps somebody else that you really care about. You see, I don't know you personally. I don't know what your specific problems are. But what I do know is that process by which we can make better decisions is the same pretty much for everyone, but nobody is talking about it. That's precisely what we're doing here on this show. We're not promoting a product, we're not promoting a person. We're sharing with you the process by which you can make better decisions so that you can have optimum health. And so, how do we actually do that? Basically, through role play. So, one of my guests will present with a particular problem, and the other will guide them through some form of resolution. Now, mind you, it's only about 6 minutes. You may actually find yourself relating to this. You might actually get triggered by it. If you do get triggered by it, great. That's also part of the purpose. Because in that triggering, in that sense of or that feeling of pain or hurt or upset or anger, that's the indication that change needs to happen within us. It's a feeling that we get within the body that says, yep, we need to change. And so do not be offended and do not judge whatever is showing up here. The purpose again is for those that are ready to hear what it is that they need to hear, will see themselves, will witness themselves in the problem and the resolution. Because here's the truth: we no longer have an excuse to be sick. If you're triggered, great, because it's also true. I couldn't say this 5 years ago, but the reality is that with all this information out there, all this new technology, and all these incredible individuals that I get to talk to on my podcast and elsewhere as well, the solutions are out there, the resources out there. You can find optimum health. So now it becomes you. Are you being responsible and accountable for making sure that you're going to do the right thing? And again, that's your responsibility. So here on this podcast, we help you, guide you with role playing so that can happen. So for today, I'll have each of my guests introduce themselves briefly. We'll go into that 6 or 10 minute role play, after which we'll unpack, some of the distinctions out there that you're going to want to get. And then the rest is really up to you. So, Ty and Udo, thank you so much for joining me. This is our second show together. It's a great honor to have you, Udo, and obviously your son as well. Ty, brief introduction about yourself, then we'll go with Udo, and then we'll start the role play.
First of all, thanks for having me on the show. My name is Ty Erasmus. I'm a 32-year veteran in the fitness industry, and I specialize in custom nutrition for athletes, actors, and the general public, like those viewing the show. And I'm just excited to and hopefully share some value with your audience today from
All
my
right.
years of experience of working with clients.
No, I know you absolutely will with your intense integrity. I know that's going to happen. Udo.
Hi, my name is Udo Erasmus. I'm best known for work that I've done in oils and health. Um, and um, I developed flaxseed oil and then worked on to develop blends that are better balanced than flax. My interest these days is to turn total health into a teachable field and to turn human nature into a teachable field. Because health is based in nature and human nature, and the two are kind of like Siamese twins. Human nature and health are actually, I think of them as Siamese twins. And this is my my grand opus that I want to get done before my body checks out.
And anything I can do to support that, because it's so important. One of the things that I've been saying for so many years is that, how do we harness the potential of the body to restore form and function? Because we have a body intelligence, we have a brain intelligence, we have an energy intelligence, and it's people like you that will guide us to understand and tap into that intelligence within us, because our DNA has the perfect blueprint of a perfectly functioning body, but because of our bad choices, it doesn't always work out. So I can't wait to be experiencing your opus, Udo.
My what?
Your opus. I can't wait to experience
My
that
opus.
opus
Yeah.
first. Yeah.
Okay.
Right, let's do the role play. So Udo, you got a problem.
Okay. Yeah. So
What's going on?
yeah. So my problem is different. My thing is that I'm really good on my own. It's very easy for me to get into the peace and the quiet and all that. I've been doing it for a long time. My thing is more like, if what I have has value, and of course I'm doing it because I think it does, how do I get that out globally? That's my issue.
Okay.
And simply because I'm more reclusive. I'm comfortable in social situations,
Okay.
but I have not built social connections the way many people do in terms of networks and people that, I mostly have gone more into the inner space to bring out whatever's there, but then how to make that accessible globally is the thing that I'm always quite not understand, not quite. I don't know how to do it.
Okay. So can I clarify the question?
Sure.
So are you saying you want to your message? So can you clarify the message?
Clarify the message.
Yeah, that you want to get out. What is the message?
Well, the message
specifically?
is about, you could say, a teachable field of human nature,
Okay.
and there are parts to it. So, at the core of our being is pure awareness. That's where our peace lives.
Okay.
Within that, there's solar energy fraction that is life. That is unconditional empowering love. That's number two. The shine of that into the world is, I call it inspired purpose. So now this is all internal.
Yeah.
And then you got the body, food and fitness, basically and then you got protection.
Yeah.
Survival smarts.
Yeah.
That's a mental part. And then you've got social group. Then you have natural environment. And then you have the big picture of, here we are, temporary, a temporary body in an infinite universe. So those are the 8 parts.
Okay.
The one, and I'm just thinking as I'm saying this, I'm thinking, yeah, the one that I struggle with the most is actually the people part, the social part. How do I get this information out? It's
Okay.
useful information for every human being. We haven't, we've been on this planet for 200,000 years or 6,000 years or whatever you think it is.
Mhm.
And we've never actually created a field of human nature or a field of total health
Mhm.
that takes everything into consideration. And you'd think those would be the two things that would be most important for human beings. And so I want to bring those out, and I want to make that. I think it will change humanity in a really good way.
Okay.
For that to be available.
Okay. So to clarify, you are the part that you want to understand better is how to expand your reach of the message.
Yes.
Okay. So I think
How to connect the message to more people.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I think is finding the relatable part in everyone with that message, in a way, and delivering that message in a way that people relate to it. So once that part of the people part is clarified in that way that you can connect, with people, whether it's first establishing rapport with them and then going deeper with that part of it, like that hunger, that hunger for change, or going deeper inside yourself to understand yourself. I mean, there's different ways you can do that, but through video, through podcasting, through I mean, gosh, you've established a specific area of nutrition, which can be a way for you to shoehorn that message in through that. So you can still offer that as another component to health. You may be the relationship may start with something that's nutrition based, but then can lead into the rest of the message that you're talking about. So I don't know if there's any one particular way that you would do it. The message would be a sniper approach, but the way in which you expand your reach would be a shotgun approach, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Using social media, podcasting, doing live talks, a place where people can go, say, on a website that they can, that they discover through, your products, or, anything that you're doing that where you're put out in front of more people. Social media, I mean, I think social media is okay to create some awareness, but people aren't going to get a chance to understand who you are and what your message is until you're doing things like podcasts or talks or recorded video. So I think that's where more effort would be put, and then the social media component is just sort of your way of branding and awareness and providing a place for people to go. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we can wrap it up there. What do you think?
Yeah. Okay.
So Udo, quick question for you. What was that for you? What was that? What's the context of that?
Well, it's nice because it's not coming from my own head. So it's like outside confirmation. And yeah, and there's less doubt in the outside confirmation than on the inside, because I'm always saying, I got to do more. There's like something, sometimes I think there is a particular connection I need to make with, I sometimes think about Elon Musk and all his satellites, and, to put a message out that could go globally very quickly. Because it's an important message, and it's a global message, and it's not one based either on religion or on country or on culture.
Yeah,
but it's based on the biology of existence, or the biology of human beingness, if you want to see it that way. But
yeah,
and so it's nice to get it from a perspective and a kind of it's a nice confirmation for me.
Yeah, there's a lot more to unpack on that, but I want to first hear from Ty. What was that for you?
Well, it got my wheels turning a lot more, actually. About
what?
I mean,
you mean than to have a problem? You mean?
Yeah, I think I think really the other part to it is to trust in the process that the people that are hungry for that message are going to find you.
Find it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the deeper message, or the deeper thing I wanted to say from that.
Yeah, and it's an interesting challenge, because when I started 20 years ago with with the clarity of what it was, let me backtrack a little bit. So when I graduated from medical school from Erasmus University, by the way.
Oh no! Oh
Yes.
no! Don't blame me. Don't blame me.
Well, it was definitely one of the top, medical schools in Europe for sure.
Yeah,
it's in Rotterdam, right?
Yeah, it's in Rotterdam. It's an
I've heard of the school.
Yeah, amazing school. But I recognized, and I had to recognize myself for recognizing this then, that there was a major disconnect. There's a fundamental gap between what conventional medicine was teaching us and also then what people were asking or needing. And then fast forward to about 20 years ago, I made a statement of mission for myself to make wellness a must and accessible to all. Similarly to your objective there, Udo. But the challenge was, I couldn't get people. I didn't know how to convince, and there's reason I'm using that word, how to convince people to do this stuff. And so I had to wait another 20 years to figure all these different things out, because the reality is, you're right, Ty. Are people ready for this or not? But part of the challenge is that so many people are just unaware of the need. And when you look at the fact that we spend 1/5 of our GDP, which is $4 trillion per year, on chronic diseases and mental health issues in this country, I mean, it's just insane. And it's only getting worse. And now we're experiencing diseases that are unheard of, and certainly absolutely absent from other countries. So that just again tells us there's a dire need, but people are just asleep. So how do we wake them up? And so I think that's a really critical question, especially for this podcast, Udo. How do we wake people up? And my hope is that the listener recognizes that yes, they need to wake up, and they need to help other people wake up too, because there's nothing worse than having a life of pain. I'm handing over the mic to you guys. Any more
Cool.
thoughts? What else would you like to add?
Go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was asking you.
No, either one of you. I mean,
Yeah.
I-
Well, um,
now you're not normally tongue-tied, Udo. So
yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I'm in boredom space.
I, okay.
In my own mind.
Yeah. What I enjoyed about all of this is that what I feel, even just from this conversation, that connection to striving for wanting to grow more, to experience more, to connect more. Also, and when I say connect more, I don't just mean with myself, but also connecting with others in a way that allows for respectful dialogue and understanding of each other. I feel like we're living in a time right now where things are chaotic. You see it the way people drive on the road, the way people communicate with each other. And I think now more than ever is a time where realizing that we really are, I know this term's overused maybe a little bit, but we are all connected. And how do we deepen that connection with ourselves and others? And I understand that it starts with us first, and that's where we start with and nurture that part first, but then to share that with others. I think that's what how I would
and then have people like yourselves, exemplars as well, who are amazing guys, because I know you do some tremendous work for people's health, Ty, in regards to giving them structure, and giving and holding them accountable, because I think that's what we all need.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, I think we all do better when we're being observed. As that upsets some people, by the way, but it is true. You go to the gym and you suddenly work out harder if there's more people there, or certainly more attractive people than you there.
Especially for pretty girls watching.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to say that, but thank you,
Yeah.
Uda. You
Huh?
read my mind.
Yeah, you read your resume. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what, that accountability part is huge. And if and even if people are uncomfortable with the accountability, there's still opportunity for those individuals that are uncomfortable with it to discover something more about themselves. So
Yeah,
yeah.
no, for sure. But then also the accountability partners comes with a qualification or certification, if you will. They actually know what they're talking about, because too often there are people out there that they think they know what they're talking about, and they really don't, and then it gets a little confusing and very, very stressful. But here's the truth. I mean, we all could work together and collaborate with each other, especially outside of the medical field, because there's so much wisdom and insights that we can tap into to really make some real differences. And interesting enough, I've been in the personal development world for the last 25 years. And I just joined a new group about 6 months ago, the Sean Callaghan Unblinded. And I'm just blown away by all these micro distinctions that I'm now learning. And actually, as you're talking about, Udo, is, it's so teachable that it's accelerated everything that I do, from my health, from my business, from my impact and everything else. And I could only wish that everybody would have the kind of experience that they could become the best version of themselves if they only knew how. And that, again, is part of the reason for this podcast, because with all the distinctions that you bring and everyone else brings, it's that one little nugget, right, that might make all the difference, that opens up the floodgates to become your best self.
Yep.
Awesome.
So as we wrap it up, gentlemen, Ty, how do people get a hold of you and be more expansive as to what you do and how you help people?
Yeah, thank you. So they can reach me at tyerasmus.com, which is TAIERASMUS.com, or myfit2win.com, which is MYFIT, the number 2, WIN.com.
And what specifically do you do again?
So I specialize in fitness nutrition specifically, and I design customized programs for clients. Doesn't matter where you are on the planet, I can design customized programs for clients,
like for specific outcomes.
For specific fitness outcomes, yeah,
Right.
whether it's performance, recovery, or physique related.
That's awesome.
Or
And
a
then the
movie
truth
role.
is,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Or a movie role.
Yeah.
A
You know,
movie
that
role.
people have to
That would be
have to be
physique.
the yeah,
Physique
that would be
related.
physique. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, truth be told, my mom always wanted me to be in the movies.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm doing the podcasting,
Yeah,
because
there you
Yeah,
go.
exactly.
Udo, how do people get a hold of you?
Just udoerasmus.com. And I'm on social media under Udo Erasmus. Udo, UDO Erasmus, ERASMUS, like the university in Rotterdam.
Yep. And you want to share one last time what your opus is?
My opus is to turn total health into a teachable field, because health is, it came out of realizing that everything affects health. So you have to, if you want to do total health, you got to give everything its due. So total health based in nature and human nature. And then the other one is just a field of human nature, teachable field of human nature, that isn't just physical and mental and emotional, but is also deeper than that, in awareness, in energy, in inspiration, and then on the outside, protection and social and environmental issues.
And for all those addicted to a high tech and convenience in our lives, what I find is that our very convenient resources actually become very inconvenient, because if you're sitting down all day long and the convenience of having things delivered to your house and you're not out there, toiling the land, it's going to become very inconvenient. And here's a truism for those that are denying what Udo just said, is that there's an intelligence in nature. We've evolved over millions of years in harmony with nature. Every part of that is an intelligent, harmonious interaction that over the last, say, for sure, 200 years, with the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, has put everything upside down, and it's causing havoc within us. And that's why there's so much disease. That's why there is so much chaos.
Yeah.
And by getting back to nature, is exactly what Udo is talking about, we will be able to restore balance within, and therefore restore balance, in the world outside. Did I hear you correctly with that, Udo?
Yeah, well, yeah, it just reminds me what you're saying is, people are on their gadgets and everything there is mental. Everything's mental. You get a little emotion out of it, but it's all mental. And you're reading and reading, and you're filling your head, and you're filling your head, and you're filling your head. But that's all conceptual, and concepts are not real. And you're missing everything else. You're missing the social, you're missing the environmental, you're missing the big picture, you're missing the big picture within yourself. You're missing the love that you are, you're missing the peace that is your universal nature. So you're missing all that because you're just feeding your head, feeding your head, feeding your head until it explodes, or you end up with mental illness, right? Because you can't handle so much information and not be grounded in the rest of your nature. And I think we've the side effect of this great technology that we have that allows us to communicate. The downside of it is it can so lock us into mental space that we lose sight of everything else. That's a problem.
Well, thank God for people like yourself that are out there championing the cause for humanity, so that we can be so much healthier and happier and actually like each other, and maybe sometimes even love each other. So thank you for that. My name is Dr. Bart Rademaker, and this is the Doctor's Guide Podcast, Raw and Unfiltered. Get ready to fasten your seatbelt and go for a ride, whatever that is. You'll be surprised what happens on the show, but it's those voices, it's those conversations, it's those things that you need to hear that you're not going to hear anywhere else, which is unfortunate. Or my hope is that more people will do the same, so that more of these conversations with respect, with authenticity, with integrity, and then you decide if it's right for you. You might think it's a lot of hocus pocus or maybe just bogus, or you might recognize, no, these people are truly authentic. It's the loving pursuit of truth. Got that from Sean Callaghan, by the way. But the loving pursuit of truth is what it's all about. And in truth and in unconditional love, boy, our world is really different. And that is part of my mission. So thank you, and I'll be back.